Hello YouTube viewers, welcome to my channel Science to Technology. In today's show, Future Friday, we're gonna talk about cars as a subscription or car as a service, mobility as a service. So let's dive right into it. Now, the sole reason I'm making this video is basically self-driving cars are inevitable. No matter what you're gonna do, it may take longer, but it will happen. Now, this is an absolute at this point in time. It will take much longer than what everybody is claiming, especially what Elon Musk is claiming. It will take longer than that. And again, there are a lot of red tapes, a lot of regulations, and a lot of hoo-has. So it will take time, but it will happen. Maybe not in 2030, but maybe 2050, maybe 2060, but it will happen. It's an absolute at this point in time. It's just gonna take a longer road to get there. Then what's the benefit of that? Traveling on wheels would become easier. Right now, traveling on aircraft is very tedious, not because of the aircraft, it's inefficient because of the check-in and check-out department. Same goes with traveling on train is quite awesome, but unless your country has a high-speed rail network, it's a very tedious process. Right now, even same thing will applies on roads also. Roads are good, but you're driving vehicles and every driver thinks that every other driver is an idiot, so it's really frustrating. So what will happen if we have 100% automation? Then we're gonna have traveling that feels easy. It's just like you get into the car, you get out of the car, you do not think more than that. That's a very critical aspect. You get in, you get out, you don't think about it. Now if this comes to be true, even small car will become 4% carrier. As of now, me making this video, most small cars are 3% carrier and 1% has to be a driver. Now again, if that driver is also a passenger also, then awesome, but again, you get the point. Like as a service, you have to think of it this way. You have only 3% carrying capacity on a small car. You can pack more people in, and I live in India, so I know we can pack a lot more people into that, but comfortably speaking, each car is designated as a 4% or worst like 5% carrier, so that it will have a 1+1 if you do not have to worry about steering wheel or driving it. So that's the core benefit of it. Now, is there a need for this, or is this another luxurious thing? Unfortunately, no. We need this technology simply because our cities are packed. Now, you have to understand that traffic congestion does not happen ever because of like there are too many cars or things of that. It always happens because of human error or fault in the infrastructure. Like again, if there's a flooding on the road, it will slow down things. So you do have issues of that nature, but most of the time, slow traffic congestions, these are always caused by human errors. And because there are hundreds of people, even if one person makes minor error and somebody else are unable to correct it in time, you will have a gridlock without even realizing it. And Mythbusters did quite amazing testing on that. It was just like it will always come down to that fact that we are humans, we're gonna make a mistake, and sooner or later it's gonna compound to a point where you can have like a whole city into a gridlock. So that's the whole point. Our cities are packed, and during this pandemic, a lot of people realized that they can work from home, and the sole reason why they left the big cities, it was simple. They were wasting their life away in just transport from point A to point B. For example, I used to live in Bangalore, that is India's Silicon Valley, and I was living in Mureshpalia, and I had to go to Kormangla. So I did not have the luxury of point A to point B. I had the option of like go to a bus stop near me, then take a bus to Domlur, then take another bus stop to Kormangla, where I actually had to go. So that was very difficult, very tedious, and I was burning almost 2 hours one way every day. And I can guarantee you will easily know people that are doing that for their daily use. That's very taxing on your life and your soul. And if you have a family, like think of it this way, like that 2 hours has been taken away from everything else. You could be sleeping, that still will make your health better. You could be like spending that time with your families and kids, that will still make you happier and make you live longer. So all those time away just burnt away. So fundamentally, we need to move from point A to point B. We need to move. That's non-negotiable. We have to move, and we have to do it efficiently. So fundamentally speaking, we need this technology. We need our infrastructure to be optimized. Now, point to point is the key aspect. Many people do not utilize basically public transport because it's not point to point. For example, I had good bus services. I would have loved utilizing that service and never even thought of getting a motorbike or a car if I had a simple one bus. Like, okay, bus stop near me, bus stop near. There was bus stops, but here was like I had to change the bus midway. That was frustrating. And imagine doing that in rain. It rained almost 1 month in Bangalore, so it was really frustrating. So you get the point. Like many people, for this reason alone, do not choose public transport. It's like unless you live in perfectly placed position where it's like, okay, I get into this metro here and I get off this metro here, my office is here, my home is there. Unless that happens, you're not gonna be in a scenario where it's like, okay, it's much useful for you. And that's the primary reason why even cities that have like very good metros, very good public transport, they're still congested. simply because of that. We need point to point, and cars are specifically built for that, point to point. It does not have the issue of long check-in or check-out. It does not have the issue of where you want to go. It does not need roads, stops or things of that nature. So cars are inherently designed to point. You want that. So that's why there is a need for this. This is not a luxurious option. This is something we have to have. Otherwise, our cities will choke on itself. Then we come to the mathematical aspect. How the heck you gonna do that? Like, what's the mathematics, the raw mathematics that goes behind it? Now, ironically, you may find this odd that there are more cars than there are people. Like, even in countries like that are like not as populated as India or China, you will find there are more cars than people. Like, how the heck that's possible? The reality is very simple. Most of the cars spend time idling. What does that mean? That simply means if you take a car from factory floor, is like, okay, it's sold to the customer, you start the clock, and sold to the scrap yard for a scrap metal, that's you end the clock. That's the take the time whole 100%. It's barely, most of the time, averaging is 5%. That's the time it was actually moving in their whole lifespan. It's very, very, very inefficient. Most of the time your cars are actually either in garage or parking spot. It's not doing anything other than that. So that's the part where it becomes an inherent headache for us to deal with. Now, we do need cars 24/7. You always need cars. There is always someone who's like, I wish I had a car. At this moment in time, I really wish I had a car. So we have a need for it 24/7. Of course, there need will be like there will be a demand curve to that. It won't be flat, but there's always a need for that. So ride sharing solves this problem. So if one person has the car and that one person is sleeping in his home, it's like, dude, I don't have to go to office today. I'm done. I'm okay. I'm sleeping in the home for like, let's say, next 6 hours. The car can easily drive the person home, and the person is like, I'm good, I'm cool, just go earn money for me. That car can easily take care of another people's need of mobility from point A to point B, and doing that will always save energy rather than building new cars or doing something else. It will always save more energy. So because you have already built a car, utilizing it to its maximum efficiency gives you least amount of carbon footprint. So fundamentally, ride sharing always saves energy. Now, if you are ride sharing with other person, that also saves energy. And when I'm talking about energy, it does not matter whether it's CNG, whether it's LNG, whether it's like a petrol, diesel, electricity, it will always save energy. It's always more efficient to utilize the same car multiple times and to carry multiple people rather than like having one person in one car. You never want to do that. So fundamentally speaking, if you want to take care of the situation, you want to make sure we have maximum utilization throughout maximum amount of time. So car should be running 24/7. Now, again, not exactly 24/7, it will overheat, and even electric cars will also need time to charge. So that's the reality of it, but it has to become better than 5% or 25%. It has to become much better than that. Now, there is another benefit of that. If cars are active most of the time, parking spots requirement goes down drastically. Now, at this point in time, I live in a small town. Now, my small town is slowly growing, and it has growing in infrastructure also. So we are in a situation where I have a basically city center, if you can say that. This is the marketplace for us, and I have to go in my car. My car is very small. Next to it, park it, then travel almost a kilometer, then do all the shopping, then carry all the big groceries into that car, and then drive away. Thankfully, at least I have a parking spot. In most people cases, they don't want to either pay for that little fee that it takes, or sometimes it's inconvenient for them. They will park it in the road, and I'm pretty sure most of you know that what happens if you start parking in the road. Everybody will do that, and sooner or later your 4-lane road will become 2-lane, and if it's 2-lane, God help you. So this happens. Parking becomes a headache, and imagine what's the primary cause of parking. An idling car. If you don't have cars that are idling for long periods of time, your parking requirement will go from, let's say, you have to design a road that can accommodate 100 cars to a road that can only accommodate 10 cars, and you will still be empty most of the time. So that's how it's possible, while producing less waste, consuming less energy, creating less stress, and if it's electric, creating less noise pollution also. So what about the budget, the money, the moolah, the main aspect of it, the green, the mean green, as they say. Now, cars are overbuilt, quote unquote, because no car company wants to be in a position where it's like, I built a car, it broke under normal use, never want to that. Now, again, they do cost cutting, but most of the time cars, if the by good engineer and not crippled by a product manager, most of the time cars are overbuilt, and you can see that in your manuals where it's like, first servicing when it has to be done, not in terms of time, in terms of kilometers. Most of the time those are very generous, so to say, and your car can easily survive, easily. Like many time many servicemen will flat out say that do not change your mobility, your car is like completely fine, which have to do that because it's like, you know, oh, if you don't do that I will void warranty, which we're gonna void no matter what you're gonna do. So it's like lol. So you get the point, like cars are very well built, and if you can service that car properly with good techniques, with like a good capable person takes care of your car regularly, it's a very long life. Your normal car, if in a rough use environment, can easily give you a good service life from 3 to 5 years, and I mean before you need any serious maintenance. A car that is well maintained regularly, periodically, can easily stretch that first major service to easily 8 years. And when you're talking about electric cars, they inherently only have few things that could go wrong, like inverter systems, the brake pads, these sort of things, and those are very easy to replace and done. And what about battery bank? Well, battery bank itself is inherently overbuilt, and they have like a provision for years, like decades of use they have provision into, and people have already driven that. So we know, we have actual time data to know that no, battery don't degrade instantaneously. It's like, it's not mobile battery. We have enough oomph in that it can endure much more abuse. So if you are basically utilizing a car to its full capacity, and you are doing it with good maintenance, you're gonna get a maximum amount of money out of it very quickly. And bulk buying, let's say buying a car directly from a basically car factory, and be like, hey, we need 5,000 of these, which is a very small fleet of vehicles, but if you want to do that, let's say for Bangalore or Delhi, it's like awesome. Price go down, everything else will go down. Like heck, you brake pads, that's one direct consumable. You're like, okay, just bulk order a container, just bulk order a container, I ain't got time to count, just bulk order it. That will reduce the price. So fundamentally, and doing that also gives you the advantage that you can build your own workshop to repair the car. If you have car from one manufacturer and one everything, it's super easy to manufacture, super easy to fine tune, super easy to optimize the whole pipeline. So company will make money, and by some estimates they could be making like $30,000 of profit per month per car. That's a lot of moolah. That's like YOLO amounts of money. That's like so much money that if you are doing this properly and you are becoming monopoly in this environment, Apple, Google, these things will like, bro, chum change, bro, I ain't got time to this, like just move along. So very serious amount of thing. Now be mindful, for the person who are utilizing this service, it will be very cheap for very short term, like 5 years you'll be like, bro, this was like, there was no competition. 10 years, you will be like, dude, I could have bought a car in, like, if you add up the 10 years subscription, 20 years flat out, you will be better off if you had bought a basically vehicle. And if you are a light user, buying of a car would be still mathematically practical, and at the end of it you still have a vehicle that you can sell for scrap, which will still give you a lot of money, specifically if it was built with metal. And you can sell it also as a second hand, and if it's antique, randomly it becomes collectible by some miracle, which does happen once in a while, you will be rolling in money. So it's not very financially friendly for you for long term. Short term, awesome. Long term, dubious. Now there is one aspect of it which I have to understand, and I want to enlighten you guys with this, and I want you guys to think about this, is the ethics aspect of it. What do you own nowadays? For example, you may think, hey, I own this mobile phone. Short answer, no, you don't. Google can easily block it. Like it can physically block it and be like, lol, no. Your SIM system, lol, no, it's not a ham radio. It's like, lol, no. They can easily lol, no it. Your iPhone, lol, no. Your Google's, lol, no. There is one company that is actually trying to make an equipment where you can't do lol, no, which is costing like freaking $1,000. And again, that's the price you have to pay for like privilege of actually having to pay for the equipment, rather than like, oh, you are mining me for the data, and that data is subsidizing the cost of the equipment. So you don't own your mobile phone. What about flats? Like, flats are not yours. You can pay the flat, you can buy the flat, but here's the real flat is sold on a land. That land has like at least 100 units or 200 units in that. It's like that land divided by 200. That's a tiny, like, you have square foot of land that you can't do anything with. And it has happened, like because this system of flat, specifically in India, is very new. People don't think about it. It's like flats are not something that to buy. It's like you do buy it, you spend lots of money into it. Like, you are taking loans that you will take 30 years to repay. But yes, the building will barely last 60 years or 100 years. It's not a piece of, like this home, the land is owned by my family, and it will remain here. This building, it can easily outlast that, simply because there is not that many people living in that. And even when it's demolished, we'll still have this piece of land and we can build again. You can't do that with a flat. Flat is not yours. It's just like a fancy agreement. So You don't own that. Clothes, thankfully, at least we own that. Our movies, which we used to buy, collect. I used to have a large DVD collections. Yeah, VCD collection. I have large VCD collection. Again, I own that, but everything else I'm doing on Netflix, I don't own that. So reality is, what do you own? And if you let go of your vehicle, you let go of mobility. That is a very serious thing. You can't run away if you need to. Now you're like, oh, why do you need to run away? Things happen. Government do go corrupt. Like if I say corrupt government, you're like, yeah, oh, what's the news? Then why you are not thinking in such a way that you may end up in a scenario where you want control of your mobility by yourself, or heck, just in case of emergency, which does happen. Like for example, not that many people are becoming good with radios, and things happen, earthquake happen, tornado happens, and then every Tom, Dick and Harry is like, is there a ham radio operator nearby? That happens. So cars are a long-term investment, and this aspect frightens me the most, simply because we humans are becoming bad. Now we are not becoming bad because we are becoming stupid or this. We are becoming bad because our perception is shrinking. We are not seeing 30 years ahead, 40 years ahead. Even though we are living longer, we are seeing shorter. It's like, what if tomorrow? What if 5 minutes from now? Instant gratification. And that's why I was so excited about the Long Now Foundation when they were daring to dream of 10,000 years. Now, here's the deal. Many people in our ancestor time, they physically built things, hoping it will last 10,000 years. Now, again, assume it does not last, but they had the balls to dare to dream that. Why we can't dare to dream like that? And again, we have to do that in order to make sure our world lasts longer. We are not doing that. So it's very unethical to do that, like to promote this kind of idea where everything is like short term. Then core dependency of mobility, that's gone. Zero control, you don't control it. And 100% centralized. So if government changes and government is like, lol, yeah, you did. So fundamentally, ethical wise, it's a very tricky situation. Now, this was my presentation for basically mobility as a service. I hope you liked it, learned from it. In that case, please click the like button, share it amongst your friends. That will help me a lot. If you didn't like it, didn't enjoy it, I urge you to press dislike, press it twice to show me extra disappointment. Please leave a comment because I try to reply to all of them. Subscribe, press the bell icon if you're free, and as always, thanks for watching.